What is up, YouTube? It is Onion Bomb here, and welcome back to some more Honkai Impact 3rd reaction video. Today, we're back on the playlist of lore and animation in the chronological order. Last time we got to like the sort of what I think was like the end of the Elysian realm, right? We got to the because of you time period kind of thing. So yeah, towards the end of the Elysian Realm, I think we still have some Elysian Realm videos to watch, but as far as like story-wise, some stuff like coming out like after that point, I think. But yeah, sorry if it's been a little while or if the uploads were just a little bit choppy. I was away for a little bit. I went on a trip. And yeah, just kind of having trouble getting back into like the swing of things. But I think I'm good to go now. So yeah, this first video is an official Honkaiimpact 3rd upload. This is Elysia's Sweet Afternoon Tea. So I don't think I've seen this one before. Let's go. Yeah.
你很会选地方呢。 这里灯光柔和，音乐舒缓放松，我很喜欢。
Very nice looking
没
cakes.
错，甜点我也很喜欢啊。又有哪个女孩子能拒绝可爱的甜品呢？不过，比起美食本身，我更喜欢它附带的特殊含义。毕竟在我们的时代。 只有特别的庆祝场合，人们才会大张旗鼓地精心准备美食。而且呀，这样的场合通常都会让人身心放松，有时候还会发生有趣的意外哦。比方说，我有一个朋友。
You are talking about yourself, aren't you?
当然不是啦。难道在你的心里，我是这么不坦诚的人吗？我的那位朋友，真是个非常有趣的人啊。 多亏有他在，乐土的生活总是充满了欢乐。
薇薇姐，怎么愁眉苦脸的？
工坊好像遇到了惯偷，专家暴跳如雷呢。
Don't die. Well,
惯偷是
the second time I get.
我怎么没听说？
听专家说，是个身材小巧的家伙。对了，还长着毛茸茸的耳朵和尾
Hell, a
巴。
third baby, I don't know.
薇薇姐，要不然我就先回。
Oh.
小帕朵，你没事吧？
没事，我坐的腿麻了，活动身子。
你的活动方式还真是挺特别的。
对了，薇薇姐，你有没有闻到一股烧焦的味道
Did it ignite? The tail. The tail.
小帕朵，你的尾巴，
尾巴？什么尾巴？比起这个，还是快点找到气味的来源吧。
我说的就是这个。
It's just like the steamed
这里
hams.
可真热闹，居然瞒着我偷偷举办茶会，好过分哦！菲利斯，你是在和维尔维排练什么魔术表演吗？
魔术表演？
就是你的魔术师还没有登台，就擅自开始了表演吗？
薇尔薇姐。 你什么时候切换过来的？
这种细小的火苗无法点燃观众的热情，还是由我让现场的气氛燃烧得更加热烈一些吧。
So she switched personality.
薇尔薇姐，你在说什么呀？
哎呀，小帕朵，原来你不知道吗？你的尾……
烧焦的气味，总会让人联想到失败的实验。从攻防失窃以来就诸事不顺。
She switched again.
真是令人不愉快啊！
失窃？
没错，犯人是个毛茸茸的家伙。不，比起那些，小帕朵，你的尾巴……
那个 只是一条普通的尾巴而已。
It's on fire！
真的吗？
哎呀，当然了，就让它自生自灭吧。
可是你的尾巴烧起来了。
顺带一提，马上就要烧光了。
嗯，
哦。
哎呀，失而复得，失而复得，真是太好了。
真奇怪，为什么尾巴会突然烧起来呢？这是
那个维尔薇姐，
这不是我废弃的打火匣吗？原来是因为它啊！
废弃。等等，这不是供奉尸体的东西吗？
这种随手制作的小玩意儿，就算丢几百个也没有什么关系吧？
菲利斯，你不会以为？
没有，绝对没有。
我就说嘛，虽然菲利斯总喜欢到处进货，但实际上不会给大家真的添麻烦的。
是啊。不过这么一来，那个惯偷会是谁呢？
怎么样，菲利斯很有趣吧？他总是能给我们带来很多欢乐，是当之无愧的开心果。至于维尔薇，每一个他都很可爱。认识了他，你就认识了一群充满魅力的女孩。除了他们，我的朋友也都是些特别而有趣的人啊。如果时间允许，真想把他们都介绍给你啊。有看起来不好接近，实际上怀揣着一颗少女心的科学家，有感性又善良，可以共情每个人命运的知心姐姐，有沉默寡言却又泯然
Oh, I
细
don't
腻
know.
的绘画
There's
少女。
chocolates and
除此之外，
cups.
还有一位在我们那个时代举世瞩目的大明星呢。不但歌喉出众，对于艺术和美也有着非常独特的见解。唉，真可惜，他现在不在这里，否则应该会很开心吧。这里到处都充满了自由和梦想的气息，是孕育艺术的沃土呢。想要听听关于他的事，那就要讲很久了。毕竟少女们的故事，就像没有终章的诗卷，怎么说都说不完呢。伊甸，我的脖子好酸呀！
再坚持一下，艾丽，很快就要完成了。再加上一点舞台妆吧。珠光色的眼影怎么样？还有唇彩。
哎呀，我总算明白了，为什么你对我试穿演出服这件事这么热情。在你看来，我根本就是一个等身的换装人偶嘛，还是特别配合的那种。
那么，我听话的人偶艾丽，可以让我帮你上妆吗？
哇，真是让人心跳的发言呢，我的好伊甸。
因为化妆是一件很隆重的事情，真的不试一试吗？说不定会有意外的惊喜哦。
我想，还是把这个惊喜留到以后吧。毕竟，笑容才是女孩子最好的化妆品，对吧？
好吧，真是拿你没办法。好了，来，看看效果。
哇，我可真是个难得一见的美人儿。
这句话不是用来自夸的吧？
有自知之明就是我最大的优点嘛。
总
No,
觉
I
得
messed up
还
with
缺
that
了点
thing.
什么。啊，对了，
这顶王冠，吉罗，你为何披服？
是为月下之人加冕。没想到你还记得这句台词。
毕竟是第一次观看大明星主演的音乐剧，我当然每个细节都记得一清二楚啦。还记得演出结束后，我们本想溜出去到附近的大众餐厅尝尝有名的冰酒，却被你的狂热粉丝当场认了出来，害得我们落荒而逃，酒也没有喝到，只能坐在公园的阶梯上，一边吹着冷风，一边分享小商店里的最后一瓶气泡酒。
直到现在， 我的酒柜上还有这瓶酒的位置。不过，无论怎么喝，总觉得差一点味道。那天晚上看到的星空，也是我见过的最美的星空。唉，可惜，那样的星空再也看不到了。
伊甸，等到眼前的麻烦解决以后，再一起出去旅行吧。
真的会有那一天吗？崩坏真的会结束吗？
当然了，奇迹就是这样，只要你相信，它就会发生。你就当做是预支我一个愿望吧。
好啊。
那么，我要乘你上一次天空巡演的飞艇。
Talked about Honkai, and I thought they meant like the game in general, but they meant like they want Honkai. They ended up like the Honkai in their
还要
universe.
乘能在银河里畅游的由云朵织成的巨鲸。
好啊，这已经是童话的范畴了吧？
童话一样的少女，当然要配童话一样的景象了。我的好伊甸，你不会拒绝我的，对吧？
真是拿你没办法。好吧，虽然没办法让你乘上飞天的巨鲸，不过水中的巨鲸倒是可以试试。下次演出就定在金鱼号潜水游艇上吧。
我的好伊甸，你真是太贴心了。
毕竟这是你的愿望啊，就像你说的那样，只要你相信，它就会发生。
Oh, it changed it now. I think it's like a glass of
真是令人
cherries
怀念啊！你问
and a
我
different kind
后
of
来有没有
dessert.
实行那些旅行计划？
Some nice like art in this
都
one
是
so
不解
far.
风情。女孩子保持沉默的时候，就别再
And
追问
this
下
is
去
one,
了。
one of those like chibi-esque ones that I liked in the past as well. I like this was a nice watch. I think the last one was about Mobius, unless I'm forgetting one, but maybe there was one. I mean, I think there may have been a VV one in between that. I'm forgetting.
想不到伊甸让当时的玩笑成为了现实。他真是个像宝石一样光辉耀眼的人呐。简单来说，他真的为我准备了一场童话啊、完全是一副被吊起了好奇心的表情呀。那么就让我卖个关子，下次再讲吧。至于现在，来聊聊其他话题吧。好奇我的生活，我想想，这么说来，在烛火之鹅的每一天都很叫人开心，反倒挑不出什么特别的日子呢。既然如此，就从最平淡的一天开始讲起吧。
Kevin and Aponia.
早安，凯文。刚刚完成训练吗？看你的表情，这次又是以微弱的分差告负于艾莉西亚。
表情，不是命运的丝线。
不，我已决心挣脱命运的束缚。对了，凯文，请收下这个吧，原本是要带给鹰的，不过现在看来，或许你比鹰更加需要它。
这是
由眉比乌丝制作的营养剂，他说，对于缓解死亡之外的所有症状都有特别的效果。
Except death.
你打算给鹰这个？你对鹰有意见？
我不太明白你的意思，但我和鹰约好了，要去帮他挑选给灵的生日礼物。时间不早，我也该去和鹰见面了。那么，再会吧，凯文。
奇怪。
嗨，凯文老大，是你呀！太好了，还是我熟悉的凯文老大。
这并不值得惊讶。
才不是呢，凯文老大，那是因为你没有看到刚才的那一幕。刚才我碰到了苏哥，他居然在练摇滚，和伊甸姐一起。
他的确有这样的兴趣。
那按摩呢？他在和维尔维姐学魔术。
人总要直面自己所不擅长的事。
还有啊，还有杰哥，他居然在帮蛇姐做手术。你没听错，凯文老大，他不是手术台上的那个，而是在地手术刀啊！不愧是凯文老大，听到这样的消息都面不改色。凯文老大，
哎呀，看来我的说法很有效呢。想要拥有普通人的生活，就要学会一技之长。
艾莉西亚，是你。
当然是我啦，惊不惊喜？不过我也没想到，梅比乌斯这么轻易就会答应我的请求。果然，面对我的邀请，即便是外表再冷冰冰的人也无法拒绝呢。那么，眼前这位同样冷冰冰的先生，我有一个提议：威尔维新研发的凯文加温武装，要不要试一试呢？天要黑了呢，凯文，今天过得怎么样？
一如既往。
只是这样而已吗？这种感想也太无趣了吧。
还不错，除了输给你的部分。
连凯文都变得斤斤计较起来了呢。哎呀，起风了。看来明天会是
I feel like that's what I always say. There was nothing special. How was your day? How was your day today? I mean, really, nothing normally crazy happens. So, like,
明天
sometimes it's just a
艾
boring
莉西
answer.
亚，这就是你所向往的生活吗？
原来凯文是小时候会乖乖在周记本上写下自己理想生活的那类人呐。我可没有考虑过这些啊。我只知道，大家脸上的笑容是真实的。别再思考这些漫无边际的事了，总是揣着一肚子的忧虑生活，可是会少年白头的。
这是天生的发色。
总之，不需要考虑那么多，只要顺从自己的心就好啦。就像现在这样，平凡的一天，也不错呢。真是令人怀念啊，这样平凡而平静的生活。啊，你问我这些事是什么时候的事？其实，从来没有发生过。
A what?
真是的，我要用一副上当受骗的表情看着我呀。像我这样善解人意又温柔体贴的女孩，怎么忍心向你撒谎呢？对吧？可是，那个时代就是这个样子，总是游走于危险之间，总是身不由己。即便获得了短暂的平静，也会很快陷入新的麻烦。在那样的情况下，这样风平浪静的生活，好像也是一件奢侈品呢。不过，这些故事也不算是完全虚构的啦。如果真的有一天，一切尘埃落定，他们一定会像这样生活吧？因为他们原本就是这样的人呀。即便因为种种原因变得不复当初，即便用冰冷的外壳武装自己，但是我见过他们最初的样子，也记得他们最本真的模样。所以，当幻想，或许应该称之为祝福。当虚构的未来在眼前上演的时候，他们也自然而然地出现在了那里，以我最熟悉的模样。或许，这才是每一段旅程、每一次相遇最浪漫的事情吧。我会记住每个人的曾经，也会守望他们的未来，当然，也包括此刻的相遇，因为这才是你们赠予我的最珍贵的东西啊。你说，谢谢我呀？你这么说，我可是会害羞的。其实，我也很感激你啊。毕竟在此之前，我们真的走过了一段很长、很长的路啊。见过多少种景色，就经历过多少风雨。谢谢你愿意倾听我的故事，告诉我 我未曾错失什么。谢谢你愿意见证我的过往，告诉我我并不孤独。谢谢你的陪伴，让我在每一次驻足回首，已经快要
Thank you,
看不清起点的时候，身边还能有一个声音告诉我，这漫长的旅途没有虚度。而现在，这场没有终点的旅行还会继续下去吧？我或许还会遇见很多很多人，见证很多很多奇迹，铭记很多很多的欢笑和泪水。到了那个时候，可以像现在这样，一起分享我的故事吗？
Oh, that was a pretty good video. Like I said, I like those like I think chibi's the word. Yeah, I guess those are like, I know what chibi is, but I'm not sure for this particular style if that's like the correct wording. But I like those kind of like more laid back, slice of life kind of. These videos just kind of like exploring the characters in a different light than the game probably has them in. And yeah, some really cool arts, I guess, of Elysia. Shots of Elysia, because they're only like kind of slightly animated, like not like fully. I feel like just like a little bit of like just some movement, but they were definitely very nice looking. I like the detail of how like the stuff on the table kept switching after every story. That was pretty cool. And yeah, definitely some nice potential screenshots if anyone wanted like a wallpaper kind of thing. Some very nice looking pictures, and yeah, just a very, very nice chill watch. And more with the 13 flame chasers, and kind of funny too. Alright, so this next one is back to Homu Labs, and this is the Hersher who loved humanity. Elysia's sacrifice explained.
Even if some of you may not agree, Hoyoverse did an excellent job with the Flame Chasers.
I do agree.
I didn't think that they'll make us care about 13 new characters in such a short time.
That is kind of crazy.
Among the 13, Elysia
Among Us
quickly raised to become one of the most beloved characters in the eyes of the community. That is why, today, we're going to talk and explain her importance in the story. So buckle up, these holidays are going to be pink.
Inspirations and design. I think I heard a little bit about this already through like the character. Maybe
when it comes to the inspiration behind her character, Elysia is a mixed bag with so many ideas. From mythical creatures, different gods, and concepts from multiple religions, there are so many things that I can make an entire 30-minute video only on that. At a first glance, the traits that are the easiest to notice are her elf ears. They are the result of her metamorph.
Easiest to everyone but me. I didn't think I really noticed them until they were pointed out to me.
After fusing with the Vipralopa class Honkai beast, Mahesvara. Vipralopa class Honkai beasts, unlike other types which are based on real animals, seem to be based around mythical creatures. All the flame chasers that are fused with them seem to have elf-like ears and strange features that are not seen in common animals. We don't really know much about Mahesvara, only that nobody except Elysia survived after fusing with its genes. I have seen some people theorize that its form is somehow similar with Elysia's manta ray from her Hersher of origin, but I'm not sure. Also, Elysia did become a mantis and underwent the metamorph surgery. Many seem to think that because she was a Hersher, she lied and used her powers to alter the memories of the people around her. This is a misconception that is probably from this line of dialogue belonging to Dr. May in one of Kevin's files from the Elysian realm. I see why people are confused, but we see clearly that in chapter 29, she did not have elf ears prior to her supposed surgery. And from what the game implies, it's very likely that she didn't even know that she was a Hersher at that time. If we dig deeper into the folklore of many Germanic and North European countries, elves seem to have been thought as beings with magical powers that loved hindering people. In other words, they were a bunch of trolls, and they loved pulling pranks for the sake of their own amusement. Very much in tune with a mischievous pink lady, if you ask me. Elves are also most often depicted as archers. Albeit this is mostly because of Tolkien, who is responsible for the modern version of elves. Her bow could also be associated with Cupid, who often appeared as a winged infant carrying a bow and a quiver of arrows, whose wounds inspired love in every victim. Of course, Ellie isn't an oversized fetus, but Cupid is the god of desire and attraction, all symbolized within Elysia's pink and heart-shaped elements. But Cupid is not her only reference from Greek mythology. Her name is a reference to the Elysian Plains, also known as Elysium. Elysian Plains is a concept of afterlife in some Greek religious and philosophical sects and cults. Basically, it's the Greek version of paradise that every Greek hero tried to seek. This concept is also shown in her early history, when, after reading a fairy tale as a child about a hero set on a journey to find paradise, Elysia was inspired to set out on her own. There is a lot more to talk about all the inspiration that Hoyo took for this character, but I don't want to make this video an hour long. And for those of you thinking, Homu, you're not gonna mention Jesus? Please have some patience, we'll get there.
Early history.
Elysia was found by a gardener under the tallest ash outside of Vladivostok, a small town in Russia. The gardener brought her back to the town and sent her to the church's orphanage. There, she would end up growing up under the loving care of a nun that she called Mama Celia. Later, she would choose her own name, Elysia, which symbolizes the paradise that the hero and his companions were searching for in the previously mentioned fairy tale. Unfortunately, her happy life at the orphanage wouldn't last long. An early moth would regularly show up in the town searching for something. Even though she didn't exactly knew what is happening, little Elysia could sense that she was the one they were searching for. She didn't want to worry the people from...
Bro, there's like a gnat, like a little like a flea-like insect just flying around me, and I swear every year this time it comes back. It's been happening for like 5 years. I don't know. It's just one singular gnat, and it keeps it crawling on me later. But get off! I try to kill it, and it's too fast. I'm like Saitama and the mosquito if you've seen One Punch Man. But if I'm swatting anything away, that's what's happening. Sorry about the interruption.
So she decided to leave and go out on a journey. During her journey, Elysia meets all kinds of people and learns about humans, both the good and the bad parts. No matter who it was, Elysia saw beauty and value inside everybody, even inside those that did bad things. It was also during this journey that she first met some of the people that would later become her friends and her colleagues. After a few years, around the second eruption of the previous era, Elysia joined Moth. One night, during the annual prom, she met a silver-haired boy that would later become her friend and fellow flame chaser. After the tragedy of binding, only 13 Mantis soldiers were left. Wanting to unite them under a single name and give them a purpose, Elysia wished to form the 13 Flame Chasers, a last bastion of heroes in the fight against the Honkai. Unfortunately, the Moth never accepted her proposal because they considered the majority of them unfit to become heroes. Refusing to compromise, Elysia created the group anyway. During this time, at Elysia's suggestion, the Flame Chaser created the Elysian Realm, a virtual database where they would upload their consciousness in form of a simulation to tell their stories to the future generation of heroes that would pick up the mantle after them. In her final moments, Elysia said the following. Please subscribe to Homolab's channel and give the video a thumbs up for more Honkai content. So, what are you waiting for? You don't want to disappoint Elysia, right?
Powers and abilities.
Besides her bow, Elysia used to wield multiple divine keys. She even was the first owner of the Abyss Flower, but according to Kevin, she relinquished the weapon due to it not being cute enough. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that Elysia would use any weapon as long as it looked cute. Her powers revolve around condensing Honkai energy into a crystal-like material that she controlled. She tells May that the side effects of her mental surgery are the fact that she stays beautiful with a smooth skin and never getting fat no matter what she does. It is not known if these abilities have anything to do with the fact that she is a Hersher or not. Oh, and speaking of her Hersher powers, let's talk about them. Elysia is the true first Hersher of the previous era. Because of that, many people like to call her the Hersher number 0, also known as the Hersher of Origin. Hersher of Human is a name she chose for herself as the first Hersher to ever fight for humanity, but her powers in-game are referred to as the Authority of Origin. The exact nature of her authority remains a bit of a mystery, since it's never explained, but it's heavily implied to have something to do with fate. By returning to the Honkai, she severed the threads of destiny that were binding humanity's fate. During chapter 32, Prometheus remarks that Kiana displays the authority of origin. Later in the same chapter, Dr. May refers to May as a Hersher of human. Combining these two statements, it is heavily implied that any Hersher that kept their humanity is a successor of the authority of origin, since Elysia's powers are what enabled them to do so in the first place. Interestingly enough, it seems that the authority of origin is not a guarantee, as we've seen with Hershers like Anna. There is a big price to pay for it, with Kiana and May going through immense struggles to keep their humanity and not succumb to the Honkai. In the game, she is referred to as God's daughter. But who's God? Well, I believe that it's the imaginary tree, of course. As we learn from Dr. May in chapter 31 EX, Elysia is an anomaly in the system. She is the result of an accidental symmetry breaking, which is why she is not bound by the Honkai and the pre-established Hersher cycle. She is a Hersher that was not supposed to exist. That is why we don't have a Hersher of origin in the current era, but her authority is still present. That's a complicated topic that will get explained later. Dr. May offers a great analogy here, saying that Elysia's birth is like someone redefining thermodynamics and boiling coffee with ice cubes. Asymmetry breaking is a process from quantum physics. Of course, that occurs when there are unknown changes to a system that is set on a predetermined path. The Hershers should have started with the Hersher of Reason and end with the Hersher of Finality. So the chances for Elysia to exist were very, very slim, and because she was not part of the system put in place by the Authority of Finality, her actions basically broke it and gave humanity opportunities that it shouldn't normally had.
I mean, this might be rather random, but just thoughts that are coming in my mind. But I know watching this playlist, I think that this is the first time I learned about Dr. May. It's been a while ago at this point. I've known about Dr. May for a while, and I may have said some of this stuff before. I don't know if I did or not, but in case I didn't, here it is again. Or in case I didn't, here it is. But it's funny, kind of like there's like May and Dr. May, and they look similar, but have nothing to do with each other really, unless there is something that's gonna come up that we haven't hit yet. But if they don't have anything to do with each other, why did they make them so similar? Like, why not just make like a different like just make a completely different design and like a different name? Like, not only do they look alike, but they have the same name. Like, they made it confusing on purpose. I just find it kind of funny, but like, it's an interesting choice.
Editor Homo here. While working on this video, a lot of lore bombs were dropped in chapter 33.
ライデンネイたちの5万年前
Oh my god. Too much!
Haven't experienced the chapter for yourself yet? Skip to this part. I saw a lot of people confused regarding the authority of origin and how it works. Humanity is trapped in a 50,000 year samsara by the authority of finality. I will go over the exact reasons and nature of finality in another video. But in essence, finality is a power from a higher dimension that wants to end human civilization because of the conflicting natures between the two. All the Herschers, from the Herscher of reason to the Herscher of corruption, are projections of finality. Think of them as parts of a whole that gradually manifest and enforce the finality's will. If they all fail, the Herscher of finality comes and resets everything. Now, the reason why the Herscher of origin is special is because it's not part of finality. Origin is another power from the imaginary tree on the same level as the finality. But unlike finality, Origin's Herscher loved human civilization. That is why the Herscher of origin doesn't exist in the current era. Her powers do not cycle with the samsara, since it's not part of the finality. And that is why Elysia was able to free the current era Herschers from finality's control.
A final banquet.
The events that transpired at Elysia's final banquet are never properly explained. I believe that they wanted to be elusive about them to keep a biblical feeling. They mention things vaguely, never giving a proper confirmation or order of events. We can only deduce them from the dialogues and the reenacting that she and Mei had during chapter 31. So, please note that what I am about to say is my own interpretation based on the in-game dialogue that I have read again and again and again.
That's funny. I think I've said that before. Sometimes story about Honkai feels like like reading the Bible, or something. Like you learn something new every time, or like you interpret something different every it's interesting. So to actually say that's crazy.
It is heavily implied that Elysia did not know that she was a Herscher until late into her moth days. She always had a feeling that she was different, but she never confirmed it for herself until Dr. Mei done some tests on her. She wanted to sacrifice herself by returning to the Honkai to accomplish two important things. One, Elysia speculated that she had the power to free humanity from the fate that was controlling it, and second, to unite the remaining flame chasers who were in a pretty rough spot after the 12th Herscher destroyed the 3 remaining human cities. She wanted to pretend to be an enemy of humanity and challenge the flame chasers by sending them an invitation to come and stop her. Dr. Mei knew about her plan and went along with it. Ultimately, she hesitated because she didn't want to disappoint her friends. The moth branded her as the 13th Herscher, which was a false identity that she and Dr. Mei constructed, and as an enemy of humanity. But none of the 12 remaining flame chasers believed it, and as Elysia says, they all refused to see Elysia as an enemy. Nonetheless, 4 people showed up in front of her anyway. Eponia, because she could see the strings of fate and knew from the beginning that Elysia was special. Vilvi, who was smart enough to figure things out on her own. Eden, who was told the truth by Elysia herself. And Kevin, who was oblivious the whole time but came to support her anyway. It is implied that she and Kevin had a battle, but we do not know for sure how she died. I see a lot of people saying that she let Kevin kill her, And even if that is a possibility, the game never confirms that fact. Maybe they were just playing around like May and Elysia did in chapter 31. The game seemed to imply that she just vanished into thin air, more so than being killed by Kevin. But the point is, we do not know how she died. Fun fact, if you read the early 5.0 files in the Elysian realm, it is very much implied that initially, Hoyoverse had a much darker plan for Elysia, but they changed their minds as the story progressed. I know what you're thinking. What's with all the return to the Honkai? Well, to explain that, we need to talk about how Elysia is Honkai's version of Jesus Christ. In Christianity, there is a concept called the original sin. This holds that humans, through the fact of birth, inherit a tainted nature and the tendency to sinful conduct. This is due to Adam and Eve taking a bite from the fruit of forbidden knowledge and going against the word of God. As punishment, humans were banished from heaven and forced to live on earth. They gained the ability to discern between evil and good, but they lost God's favor in the process. In his boundless love for humans, God decided to send his son on earth to be born, raised, and live among humans, and ultimately die on a cross to pay the price for the original sin in their place. By sacrificing his life, Jesus earned back the favor of God and opened up the gates of heaven for humanity again. God allowed humans to choose their own destiny. They could live with God in their hearts and return to heaven, or they could continue to defy him and end up in hell. In Christianity, Jesus is a savior who liberated humanity from the tragic fate imposed by the original sin. Elysia is also referred as God's daughter. She was raised and lived as a human, and she harbored a deep love for humanity. Despite being a Herrscher, she gave up her life to free humanity from the destiny imposed by the authority of finality. She is the reason why humanity stands a chance against the Honkai today. Even Project Stigma was made possible due to her help, because it's implied that Mobius learned to hack the Honkai by observing Elysia's sacrifice. If we think of the imaginary tree as a computer, Elysia's powers made it possible to hack into the system and change the data so that humans are no longer bound by Honkai. Jesus' death is a symbol of salvation, and Elysia sacrificing herself is meant to be a parallel of that. There are a ton of other similarities between the two, like how Jesus had 12 apostles, and there are 12 other flame chasers besides Elysia. Also, you can look at the 12 Herrschers and the Herrscher of Finality as the Antichrist, who is said to appear during the apocalypse. I know that her overbearing personality can seem a bit much for many. That's fine, even I am not that much into her character archetype. But I really love the idea behind Elysia's character. She was a selfless girl who sacrificed herself to bet on the future of humanity when humanity itself already gave up upon itself through plans like Project Stigma. Her will was inherited by everybody that chose to believe in humanity and fight for all that's beautiful in the world.
Wow, you know, man, I'll be honest. Completely honest. I actually didn't like pick up on any of that, and I am actually a Christian, so I didn't. That's crazy. I didn't like pick up on any of like the parallels between like Elysia and Jesus. But if you put it like that, like man, yeah, there's a lot of inspiration there from Christianity. That's really cool, especially to me. That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's crazy. The 13 flame chasers are her, and like the 12 others, 12 disciples. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I thought, wow. I'm very glad that was pointed out like that. Because I didn't like, I didn't know, and even like other like crazy like other in the beginning, like other like religious inspirations as well from other religions. It's very nice. There's a lot into Elysia's character, which is very cool. And yeah, pretty good one. That all the 13 flame tracers. Yeah, that's crazy. Like 13 new characters. Well, I mean, give or take a few, because I know Kevin was already a character before all the Flame Chasers were there. At least I think there was, and excuse me, Fuha as well, but yeah, a lot of new characters, really cool. Yeah, the Elysia realm in general, like, introduced a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool aesthetics too. Like, it's just in like the because of me. Wait, I'm messing that up. Because of you. Look at me being selfish. Yeah, because of me. No, because of you. Character short. You saw like how the Hersha corruption like had like all like the like appliances and electric stuff, like a lot of cool like aesthetic themes as well, and cool characters with a lot of depth and thought put into them. Very nice, and people like Homu Labs making videos of explain videos. Homu Labs, Potato Almanac, anyone who makes explain videos about this and like really puts it together, let it be known about like the lore and like the care and the details into put this. Like, it's always in the details. Very, very nice. Once again, big thank you and shout out to Homu Labs and Potato Almanac as well. I haven't watched the Potato Almanac video, this video yet. In fact, we had 2 longer ones, so we only got 2 in so far, but I think we can do at least a little more here. Oh, look at that. Speaking of which, Potato Almanac is actually next. Look at that. So yeah, we have I just kind of look ahead at like timestamps sometimes just to look where I'm at, and I think we had 2 longer ones, pretty much 2 20-minute videos. So I think we're gonna do 3 more videos here. This next one is only 2 minutes, and then the one like the final one, which is like a minute and a half. And the one between is 8 minutes, so I did another 10 minutes here. So far we got some pretty good ones. This is an official upload, it seems. Preview of Honkaiimpact 3rd Part 1 finale opening. Dang, so like the finale of it all. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is like the moon stuff, perhaps? Or is this a post-Honkai? No, is that the... No, this is... Yeah, this is the moon stuff. We're going to the moon! Oh... Is that Bronya? Dr. Man. Oh. May. No doctor. Kiana. Dang! Ooh! Yo, Kevin. Ooh, part 1, the moon origin and finality. Ooh, yo, he just boom, the Maid Dragon. That's crazy. He just, bro, wow. That was an epic trailer. I think I've seen that before, but I forgot, that was an epic trailer. Nah, like Kevin versus the trio. Alright, this Potato Almanac, as you can tell by the memes, how Mobius's inventions helped the previous era.
There's this saying that war never changes. In the previous era, humanity finds itself needing to fight off bloodthirsty monsters called Honkai. They weren't that much of a problem for the previous era early on. That is, until they show up. When the first few Hershers appeared, they seem to have been defeated without much problems, but then it started to go less well, and then it went badly. And with the humans' combat power waning from subsequent battles, the stage was set for a radical change, one spearheaded by a few, a change that would completely alter the course of the entire war. As you may have seen from the title, this video is about Mobius, but that isn't entirely accurate as it was a team effort. People like Dr. May comes to mind, though for brevity I'm going to focus on Mobius because unlike most people showing some doubts with some of the more radical proposal, Mobius instead goes, "Hell yeah, brother," and would proceed to not shut up about how it would change everything and whatnot. She kinda just goes all in, or as I would imagine in the words of those around her, batshit insane. As with most Honkai characters' backstories, hers are filled with family strife. Losing her mother right after her birth, which by the way, according to the source, she was somehow able to speak right out of the womb, like what is she, Jesus?
No.
She then spent a few years afterward living with her father, which proved to be a lot more difficult than you'd imagine, as her father routinely commits domestic violence in the household ever since he started taking some meds with funny side effects. After he...
Brandon, man, you can't be making me laugh talking about this abuse. I love that video, like... Thank you, England! Thank you, England! Oh, tell me something your mother doesn't know. Oh, I have to pull up the original video. I'm sorry.
Come on, England! Come on, England! Tell us something your mum doesn't know. Yeah.
Oh.
Come on, England! Come on, England!
Oh.
Tell us something your mum doesn't know. Yeah.
More than a few brewskis in, to say the least.
Caught an illness. At some point, Mobius had enough of this shit and set a goal for herself to evolve people into what she considers the perfect human. Quite ambitious coming from a 9-year-old. In her own words, evolving humans would probably involve fundamentally adjusting things in people, and there's no better place to do this than at a random shady organization called Morph, where she eventually became one of the lead scientists. Her time there was characterized by countless crazy experiments, with morals being the first thing out the window. The most notable one being the mantis surgery, pumping people with Honkai through Honkai beast genes and hoping they don't turn into some kind of monster. Even though Dr. May have been the one who put forth the idea, it was often Mobius who enthusiastically performed it on subjects who was there voluntarily or not. It cannot be understated how clutch the mantis surgery came, when the Hersher at the time, the Hersher of Fire, made every Hersher that came before it look like a fucking joke. The Hersher would eventually be defeated by the first person who went through the surgery, Kevin, who till this day holds the highest kill streak on Hershers, and with that the previous era had an ace up their sleeves. This wasn't enough for Mobius. You see, the current mantises are just using parts of the Honkai beast powers they have been given, as they are still mostly human. But what if we turn them into beasts with human consciousness so they can harness all their power? This was what Mobius first tried on herself in what would be called the Metamorph In-Core transformation, or active Honkai reaction, or whatever else you want to call it. She would quickly find out that getting full control of a volatile force of nature wasn't as easy as it sounds. She successfully brought her inner beast out, but quickly lost control of herself and went on a rampage. Luckily, further tragedy was prevented from happening thanks to the quick thinking from her colleagues who came to her rescue. After this spectacular blunder, most mantises were able to somewhat control their beast form, with Cosma being the one who got the short end of the stick. In Mobius' case, her surgery basically made her into Slither.io. This would lead to a tragedy that probably made her fall deeper into the making humanity great again rabbit hole. You see, her beast technically made her immortal in the sense that she preserves herself by shedding her physiques, you know, like a snake. Except she becomes smaller, which raises the question of what would happen if she were to keep doing it until she's a single-cell organism. Something that will unfortunately not be answered, as you know. Anyways, for her to go through this process, she needs to absorb materials, usually living things, which brings us to an incident where her assistant stabbed her after being possessed by the Legion Herrscher. Picture a situation where Mobius is lying dead on the floor, and then her body started to leak out black goo that ate her assistant. Whole, by the way. Normally no one would care about an extra being eaten alive, but this wasn't just some random characters that appear one time to serve as a plot device and will never be relevant again. It was her dear friend, Klein, who was one of the few who understood and supported her for who she was. This devastated Mobius, who then, outside of her evolving human thing, took on another obsession to manufacture artificial lives. The two most important being Klein and the Grey Serpents, whose deeds doesn't need to be reminded. Then time passed, and we had the 12th Herrscher getting baited into a black box and trapped there. Mobius was more interested in how the Herrscher seemed to be formless, and was able to make stuff become an extension of itself like some kind of hive mind. She thought it would be cool to turn humanity into something similar, and by this point, you would have realized this was the literal basis for Project Stigma, the infinite survival of the human race. It was quite an insane project, but one that Mobius deemed to be necessary. So with this knowledge, you would expect her to personally see this to the very end, considering how obsessed she was. But that wouldn't be the case because something happened. Something made her do a 180 and abandon this aspiration. This was during the time where most people weren't expecting to hold back the Honkai for any longer. Her group, known as the Flame Chasers, decided to preserve their experience by recreating themselves in VR, which was done by periodically syncing their memories with their simulations. It was the Elysian realm. Every Flame Chasers, including Mobius, needed to go through this process, but her case was a bit unique. Her simulations seemed to have taken her ambitious attitude quite too far by hatching a plan to continue her research, which she would do by escaping the Elysian realm at a later date, by hijacking unlucky visitors who came to the realm. The sim also decided there should be only one Mobius, which then led to her mind manipulating the previous era Mobius while she was syncing herself with her sim into unaliving herself. That pretty much covered the second part of the Elysian realm, which if you are interested in the story of the whole thing, here's a summary I made. Anyways, the conclusion some might draw from this was that the previous era Mobius was unethically revolutionary. But when it's her sim, to put it simply, she was a massive and that was how Mobius was responsible for pretty much most major developments in the previous era, for better or for worse. And to end this on a final note, literally every single design choices on her seem to point towards the notion of infinity. Her name and also Klein's were named after objects that was the inspiration for the symbol for infinity, which is also the symbol that made up her signet. Story-wise, it's reflected in how she wants to preserve things in order to infinitely continue its existence. Or maybe it's her bottomless obsession with achieving her goals. The list goes on. She may be a bit self-righteous and oftentimes better off working alone, but she was a person in the right place at the right time. The last thing I want to say is that, Hoyoverse, please give us pink dress Mobius.
Alright. Lee Susang, animated PV, Trial of Swords. Okay. This is a character I saw in the character trailer, which I think is going to be coming to an end very soon. The character trailer plays, I think I may only need one more video on that before I'm caught up with that again. I think this one character I saw there, I was like, I didn't really recognize. So yeah, let's get to it. Last video for the day as well. Only just a quick one.
我当然知道，现在已经不是靠剑说话的时代了。好了，你们不是本姑娘的对手，是要多找几位帮手。
I need to turn on subtitles. Hold on, we're not done. Gotta run that back. Okay.
我当然知道，现在已经不是靠剑说话的时代了。好了。 你们不是本姑娘的对手，
是要多找几位帮手过来，还是老老实实告诉我他在哪里？但世道变了，要我说，可还未必呢。啊，对我来说，世界是变得陌生了些。现在的人，在试着去抓住自己想要的东西时，不再依靠打打杀杀，而是更需要一些别的诀窍。至少大部分人是这样的，而剩下的那些，他们也让我懂得了一个道理。就算剑语不再被需要，它也必须存在。无上自在门大弟子李素商，请赐教。
Best disciple. What she said of best Ling Shang's sect's best disciple. Interesting. Pretty good animation. I guess that one. This one I see that Billy B, and yeah, it's not uploaded by the official Honkai. So I guess that one never made it to the mainstream. Perhaps, I'm not sure. But alright, that is gonna be it for today though. Pretty good run about it. Like I said, didn't do it too many videos, but we had two pretty good ones on Elysia, a nice, GBS one from Honkaiimpact 3rd, very good one from Homo Labs as well, and then a nice Mobius one from Potato Almanac, and then two short trailer ones. One kind of starting the the finale of part 1 with the moon stuff. So in this next video, the one we'll start with the next time we return to this playlist, everything that happens on the moon in 20 minutes. So definitely getting into that era of Honkai, but there's still plenty to go because it says we're 125 out of 208 on this playlist. And the next few ones, there's a lot that, like, this next one's going to be 20 minutes, and then after that, it's, like, 17, so there's a lot of, like, big hitters coming up. So, yeah, very excited. It's good to be back. It's good to be back, honestly. Because, like I said, I was away on a trip for a little bit. And I actually pre-recorded to have videos. So, so I actually haven't watched any Honkai stuff in a while. And I missed it a little bit. I missed it. It was very nice. Very nice to learn about Elysia and, like her inspirations and stuff. And really cool to see, like, the inspiration they pull from, like, Jesus. And I just, like, I'm kind of ashamed I didn't pick that out myself, but yeah, very cool, and yeah, very nice videos today. Like I said, my next Honkai upload after this is probably going to be the final one, maybe the final one of the character trailer with the battle suits and everything. I don't know if it's gonna be the final one or not. I'm either gonna. It's definitely down. I keep looking at the stuff I have left. It's down to like 2. It's down to no more than like 2 left. So, yeah, and then the last time things we left off were like part 2 stuff. So I think we're in like the newer era of Honkaiimpact 3rd. So very interesting. But yeah, for now though, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Seriously, thank you. I appreciate all the views and comments, and it really is. Thank you for sticking with me, because it has definitely been over a year since I've been reacting to Honkai stuff, and I still plan on going with all the stuff I have left. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Like or dislike, subscribe or don't subscribe. You know, it's always up to you. I will see you guys in the next video. You watch me. Goodbye.